All right, so as I was saying, I was at the outpatient program. The doctors gave me the MMPI. She gave me all that stuff, and then she said I didn't have a mental illness. She wrote out a whole thing telling my mom that I don't have a mental illness, and that she should stop trying to make me take medicine. Said I was highly functioning, and so then I left. But as I said, the thing started to secrete 2 weeks after I left because that shot that they gave me, it takes like 2 weeks for it to start secreting. So then, the doctor told my mom, because my mom was like, he's mentally ill, but the doctor told her, and the nurses told her, they're like, if he graduated from college, you claim that he was mentally ill throughout college, but if he graduated and he had a 3.1 GPA, he couldn't have had schizophrenia. He didn't have bipolar disorder. He wasn't mentally ill. But my mom was like, he's mentally ill. He was falling apart. No, I wasn't falling apart. And that's what my mom was trying to say happened to me in high school. She said, I fell apart. I couldn't handle the pressure, and that's what happened to my shot. And that's why my shot got messed up. That's why the abuse, bad stuff happened. And she was trying to say the same thing happened in college. That I couldn't handle the pressure, and I fell apart, and I became schizophrenic. No, I discovered the theory of everything. And that was the crazy thing is my mom was trying to say, like, she was saying, you haven't done anything since middle school. Because I was trying to tell her, like, Mom, I discovered theory of everything. Can I talk to Dad? Can I get some support? And Mom was like, you haven't done anything since middle school. You've been mentally ill since middle school. You haven't done anything. Yeah, one, because the shoot away machine messed up my shot, and my dad abused me because my shot got messed up, and he told me to do the wrong thing. It was a shoot away machine, and my dad told me the wrong thing. Yeah, that's why things got messed up. But at the same time, if they would have helped me get basketball videos, I could have got back into basketball. I wrote some of the biggest raps in history, but that my mom threw away. I would have been a huge rapper. And I discovered the theory of everything. I had done more than anybody in history. But she's saying that I hadn't done anything since college. I had done more than anybody in history. I'd done more than anybody. And she's saying that you haven't done anything since middle school because you've been mentally ill. If I was mentally ill, then I hope that more people become mentally ill because I did more than anybody in history. I discovered the theory of everything. So, and that's what the doctor told my mom. But she said that I was not mentally ill. She said I was highly functioning. And then she also asked my mom, she was like, have you ever supported him at all with the quadrant model? Because she knew about the quadrant model at this point, even though, but like I said, I gave the MMPI and everything, but she knew about the quadrant model, the doctors and stuff. And she said, have you ever supported him at all? And my mom was like, no. Or she didn't even say no. She was just like, she didn't think that there was any reason to support me because she thought that it was a delusion. But the fact of the matter is I discovered the theory of everything. So the doctor, and another thing was my mom was like, he doesn't even know. My aunt said something like, but he doesn't even know how to, because I had a doctor's appointment for something. And she was like, he doesn't even know how to set up a doctor's appointment. And the thing was, I didn't even have a medical card at the time. And that's the thing is like my grandpa's like, he needs to be independent. That's what he really wants. But they never taught me how to do anything. So then the doctor was like, she was like, he doesn't even know how to set up a doctor's appointment. And the doctor was like, have you ever taught him? Yeah, he doesn't even have a medical insurance card. Have you given him one? And she's like, no. She's like, why do you expect him to do things if you never taught him how to do one thing? And that was the thing is, like I said, growing up, my mom and dad did everything for me. And then the shot got messed up because my dad got the shooting machine and told me to do the wrong thing. And then my grandpa comes and he's like, oh, this is normal. What Ryan really wants is independence. So my mom's like, okay, let's make him independent, throw him to the side. But they made me independent without ever teaching me any way to be independent. They never taught me how to cook. I never once did any chores. They never taught me how to clean. I never once did the laundry. Never taught me how to do laundry. Never taught me how to do one thing. And they want me to be independent. But it's like, how do you expect me to be independent if you never taught me how to do one thing? And you threw me to the side and you're neglecting me. And I'm trying to talk to my dad. One of the big reasons why I wanted to talk to my mom and dad was I wanted them to teach me how to do things. I didn't want to be isolated and alienated and thrown to the side. And that's what was done to me. I was betrayed. I've been betrayed. So at that point, I wanted to get back into basketball. I wanted to get basketball DVDs. But like I said, I'd become a right winger. And I wanted to get power through that. But then I jeopardized this stuff, whatever. But in the back of my mind, what I thought was, okay, well, just wait a little time. You're going to get the quadrant model big. You're going to be huge. Maybe you're going to go to Israel and be seen as the Messiah, which I still hopefully will. And you will get the power and you will get your basketball videos, you know. And that's what's been in the back of my mind ever since. I've been thinking, I'm going to get the quadrant model big. I'll probably go to Israel, be proclaimed the Messiah, and I will get my basketball videos. If not through asking people, because I should just, like I said, maybe I should just ask people. But again, I feel like people don't respect me. I need to get, maybe get the respect and everything first, then get the power. Then I have an army behind me. And if people say they don't have the basketball videos, and I think that they do, then I would have them arrested. That's the way I was looking at it. Now, I still, like, in the back of my mind, I still want to really, like, maybe I should just ask people for the basketball videos, but I'm still scared to, I don't have any support. I want to ask my mom and talk to my mom and dad, All I really want is basketball videos so I can study the swag flow, which I lost, But still, hopefully, I do think I am the Messiah. I discovered theory of everything, yes. The doctor said I don't have a mental illness, so when I say I'm the Messiah, it's not because of mental illness. I discovered theory of everything, and the rabbis say that that's what the Messiah is going to do. He's going to show that Hashem controls everything, and that's what the quadrant model does. So, hopefully I will soon be seen as a Messiah, because I think that I am. But, so, like I said, after that, I got let out, but then the drug started to inject in my system, because it takes 2 weeks for it to start injecting, and then it gave me tardive dyskinesia, it gave me breast tissue growth, gave me retrograde ejaculation. It like screwed me up really bad. And I ended up suing for $25,000 the Risperdal for giving me the tardive dyskinesia and the breast growth. But yeah, I got that later. But so at this point, I'm not going to go through the whole story again because I already talked about all this, but I still want to get my basketball videos. So I'll just kind of go through what happened after that. So I was in San Diego, then I went back to Los Angeles, and when I was in Los Angeles, I was again homeless because my mom wasn't giving me a place to stay. And I discovered theory of everything, and I'm like, dude, I discovered theory of everything. People need to take this seriously, But instead I was being treated like shit. People didn't believe me, and they treated me like shit. So, but then, so at that time, for a very short period of time, I was living in my car. And when I was living in my car, I went to Altadena, where there was the recent fires, where I ran into my friend Malik. And he was the one who, in the back of my mind, I wanted to ask the most, but I was too afraid to ask him, because I knew that his dad video recorded a lot of my games. So I ran into Malik, and I saw him, and we shot baskets a little bit, and we're playing at Altadena 24 Hour Fitness. And I was too afraid to ask him. I wanted to ask him, hey, bro, do you have any videos of when we were younger? But I was too afraid. And if I would have just asked him, he probably would have had them at that time. Because I later asked his dad, like I said, he probably would have had them, but I was too afraid to just ask. Another thing was, like I said, when I was playing with him, I was playing bad because at that time, I was still shooting the way my dad told me, with my legs like this. So I was... What I did was I studied the videos of when I was younger, so I started to move into shots like this, but I was still, doing that, like I saw in the videos, but I was still shooting with my right foot pointed to the side, because that's what my dad told me to do, right? So I was still going like this, even shooting my left foot forward and my right foot like this, but I was moving into shots better. Like, I wasn't stepping straight forward, like when my dad first got the show, I was stepping straight forward, and that made me shoot like this with my left foot pointing forward like this. So, yeah, I messed up my shot. So, but I wasn't, going straight forward and doing this. I was fixing the way that I moved into shots and shooting more natural. But I was still shooting with my right foot pointed aside because that's what my dad told me to do. And I hadn't really studied the videos in depth too much at that point. So my shot was still messed up. But if I could go into details about what I was trying to do to fix it, but I'm not going to go into a lot of details because I want to make it sure sync. But I was just doing very little subtle things. But I was still shooting wrong. But I played with Malik at Altadena, and I wanted to ask him, hey, man, do you have any basketball videos? But I was too afraid. And in the back of my mind, I was telling myself, you're going to get the quadrant model big soon. You will be seen as the Messiah. Regardless, you're going to be seen as big because you discovered the theory of everything. They say the Messiah is going to discover the theory of everything, show that Hashem controls everything, and that's what the Quadrant model did. So I'm like, okay, just wait until your stuff gets big, then ask everybody for the video. So I was too afraid to ask Malik then. And again, like at the time, my shot was still messed up, and I didn't have any swag flow. I lost the swag flow, and I want to get more videos so I can study the swag flow. So I didn't ask Malik, but then my mom gave me a place in Los Angeles. So I was staying in Los Angeles, and like I said, my shot was still messed up at the time, but you know, I fixed the way that I moved into shots, but I was still shooting wrong. Then I ran into a guy, Rob Valentine, who was Malik's friend, who played with SCA. I think I probably played with SCA with him a little bit, but I didn't know him at the time. And I started coaching with him a little bit, and he told me he knew Malik, and I wanted to ask him, like, hey, man, can you ask Malik if he has any videos? But I was too afraid to ask, because I was too afraid Malik would say no. Probably if I would have just asked, he probably would have said he had them, but I was too afraid, and this is the crazy thing. So, but like I said, I'd come from abuse. Like my grandpa would say, you weren't in the flow. It was fear running me and stuff. Maybe I should have just asked. But I'd come from abuse. I didn't have any support from my family. Like I said, this whole time I'm trying to get a hold of my dad because I had hurt my leg after the shot had messed me up. I tried to recover, and when I was in San Diego, and I was on a second floor apartment, and again, I asked my mom, can I get a first floor apartment? My mom was like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Everything she does, every interaction with me is negative. She has a negative idea of me. She hates fucking me, dude, and that pisses me off. You know, that all I want is her to just quit with this negative attitude she has toward me. Because I don't deserve it. I discovered theory of everything. I don't deserve it. But, you know, she thinks I'm schizophrenic. And when I would talk to her, she would still, she didn't believe what the doctor said. She still believed I was schizophrenic. And she'd be like, I'm not going to give you a first floor apartment. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You just want to get your way. You just want your way. And again, this all stems from the shoot away machine. When I had the shoot away machine and it messed up my shot and I wanted help from my dad, my mom's like, and my grandpa's like, Ryan, you can't get your way. You just have to accept bad calls. Your dad doesn't want to help you. You just have to accept bad calls. You just have to accept and trust everything is one in the universe. Everything is the flow. So my mom was like, you just want to get your way. You can't get your way. I wanted a first floor apartment because I wanted to be able to work out because I had that shot and it messed me up. So then I was doing lunges to try to work out, to try to recover from the shot. And then I ended up tearing a little ligament in the back of my knee. Or the tendon, not the ligament, the tendon. So then I needed help. And then I wanted to get a hold of my dad to get help for my leg too. But mom's like, he's not going to talk to you. He's not going to fucking talk to you. I never interact with my mom in person. I'm calling her on the phone. They ended up moving to Texas, I think, to get as far away from me as possible. I just want to talk to them. I'm not dangerous. They think I'm dangerous or something. I just want to talk. I just want to show my dad what happened with my shot and have a normal relationship. But my mom won't talk to me. My dad won't talk to me. They won't see me. And again, like I said, my mom, she'd block me on the phone, so I could barely ever get in touch with her. But when I would get in touch with her, like, I wanted the first floor apartment. My grandpa even was saying that I should get a first floor apartment and that my mom should help so I could recover from the shot, you know, that they gave me. But she didn't give me it, and I was doing lunges and I ended up hurting my knee. And the reason why that happened was because I was on the second floor and I didn't want to make too much noise for the people below me. I'm too considerate of other people, and that ended up backfiring against me. So I didn't want to make too much noise, so I just did lunges without warming up, and I ended up tearing my tendon. And again, like, if my mom and dad would have just talked to me, all this crazy stuff wouldn't have happened. I discovered the theory of everything. I needed help. But again, my grandpa, his whole thing was like, oh, well, you know, I was hurt and I went to my grandma's place. My grandpa was like, well, if you were independent, maybe you would heal better, because if you're independent, then you're more in the flow and that will help you to heal. And again, like, his whole thing was always just try to make me independent, try to get me to get a job and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I discovered the theory of everything. I don't need independence. I need support. I need help. And this, again, I vacillated during this whole period from being like a right winger to a left winger. anti-white, pro-white. And again, like I always saw my grandpa as a white supremacist Nazi, like, oh, you got to work hard, or oh, just work hard, be independent. But I needed help. You know, my grandpa's always against welfare, and I needed help at this time. I discovered a theory of everything. It wasn't just, but my grandpa didn't believe me. So my grandpa thought, he was like, oh, what is the quadrant model? How is it the theory of everything? Is it a theory or just a model? Yeah, some things are in force. So what? He didn't realize that I discovered a huge theory, you know? And he didn't know how to use Facebook, so he couldn't go through my stuff to see. So I'm not going to get into details about everything that happened. But over the years, I vacillated between right wing, left wing. But in the back of my mind, the main thing I wanted was my basketball videos. That's all I really cared about. I just want to get my basketball videos. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get, eventually quadrant model is going to be seen as a theory of everything. This is a matter of time. It should be right now. But eventually it will be seen. It's inevitable. Because people can't shut their eyes for that long. Soon, it will be recognized as theory of everything. And once it is, I'm going to ask everybody for my basketball videos of when I was younger so I can study the swag flow and do all that. So I'm trying to get my quadrant stuff out. I'm posting all this stuff on Facebook, trying to get this stuff out. And I'm not going to go into details about everything that happened, but as I kind of described, I wanted to ask people for the basketball videos, but I was too afraid. I ended up asking my friend John if he had basketball videos, and he said that he might have them. But again, like what was going on was my grandpa would start teaching me, but then he would stop teaching me because like he would start teaching me, and usually it's because he would stop teaching me because I would get in an argument with him about my family. I'd be like, Grandpa, you mess things up with your whole independence thing. Mom and Dad interpret this as neglect him and throw him to the side. And, you know, can you help to talk to them to get them to talk to me, you know, so I can talk to my mom and dad. And my grandpa would be like, well, you know, you can't make things happen. You can't change people. And again, this is what made me even more into a Marxist, because as a Marxist, they're like, yeah, you should change things. You should change reality, especially if there's injustice. But I always saw my grandpa's a white supremacist, like maintain the status quo. Like, you can't change people. I've always was like, dude, what do you mean you can't change people? Of course you can change people. No, you can't. I'm like, let's just accept everything. I'm like, dude, you can influence people. And I'm like, well, you change them to become more like Nazis, to not help me at all. I need help. And your whole like make them independent. He's like, well, no, he's like, I admit I cast pearls to swine and they misinterpreted my teachings. So I'm like, okay, well, you cast pearls to swine and they misinterpreted teachings. Now give them new teachings that might help influence them the other way to talk to me. And he's like, no, I don't give answers unless questions are asked. And they haven't asked the questions. So again, like I just saw my grandpa as he made things so bad for me. He always made things 1,000 times worse for me. He never helped me. I needed to talk to my mom and dad. I needed help. I needed support. You know, and I still haven't talked to them for 15 years. And they moved to Texas. So then my grandpa would be like, oh, I'm not going to teach you anymore. You just want to get your way. Again, stemming from the shoot-away machine. And they're still pissed about that. Because my shot got messed up. They didn't realize it was my dad in the shoot-away machine. And I needed my dad's help. And he's like, you can't just you just want to get your way, Ryan. You have to just accept things. So my grandpa's still in that mindset. Everyone was traumatized by the abuse that was done to me. So my grandpa's still, you just want to get your way. You just want to get your way. I'm not going to teach you anymore. And I'm like, Grandpa, but I wanted my grandpa to continue to teach me because he teach me interesting stuff. And I wanted to understand. Even though I thought he was a Nazi white supremacist, I wanted to understand his teachings because I knew there was something deep in what he was teaching me as well in his metapsychiatry stuff. So, but then you're like, no, I'm not going to teach you anymore. You just want to get your way. You can, you know, and I don't want to submit myself to your software because, you know, because I got angry with him. I'm like, dude, you're a big reason why all this bad stuff is happening. Your teachings that you gave mom and dad screwed things up. So then he would stop teaching me, but then I would try to get him to teach me again. And usually what I would do is I would write based on a true story book, and I would talk about like the negative things he did to me. Like, you know, when he said the Nazi stuff and did all that. And then he would start teaching me again. Because I kind of like shamed him into teaching me. Or like one of the times I had to write a letter, and I had this lady help me write a letter to him and other stuff. But I remember at the time I'd asked my friend John, who was an Asian guy. This is like 2019, around 2019. He was an Asian guy, if he had my basketball videos. And he said he would look into it. But then I was writing a based on a true story book. And at the time, like I never admitted that I was anti-white, you know, Marxist. and I was writing a based on true story book, but it was all bullshit. And I was trying to say how, like, trying to say how because my grandpa confused me, because he'd be like, he'd said all this Nazi stuff, like don't give welfare and stuff, but then he'd also be like, and transcend dualistic software. But when he'd be saying that, I'd be like, okay, transcend dualistic software, does that mean everybody should mix and we should like get rid of borders and stuff? And my grandpa would be for globalism, but not necessarily like dissolving borders, but he'd be about for cooperation and oneness consciousness and stuff. But I didn't understand, because he confused me. I'd be like, oneness global, is he for race mixing or is he against race mixing? I'm just confused. So I'm writing my based on true story books to try to get my grandpa to talk to me again, and trying to act like I understand his teachings. And then I think John watched the thing, again, I was not in the flow, but I didn't understand my grandpa's teachings at the time. And then John watched the stuff I was writing on Facebook, and then I wanted to get my basketball videos, but then he was like, oh, hey, Ryan, I don't know, I can't find the basketball videos. So again, like, I just want to get the basketball videos. And maybe I messed things up. Maybe he had the videos, and I was trying to manipulate, trying to show him, how, because at the time I was trying to be like, yes, I had become a right winger, but then now I've transcended dualistic software, and I didn't understand what my grandpa was teaching, if he was a right winger or a left, like if he was for race mixing, against race mixing. I didn't understand. Anyways, I just want to get my basketball videos, but I'll get into it in the next video. But I'll get into what happens later and me trying to get the basketball videos.